Cochise County, Arizona Sheriff Mark Dannels joins me now. Sheriff, good to have you here. Is there one thing in particular, Sheriff, that Donald Trump has done that has led to this extraordinary decrease in migrants?
Well, I think there is, David, and that is the fact that him and Czar Holman and Secretary Noem have done an outstanding job of prioritizing the message, and that is the border is going to be secured. And there's consequences for those that come across the border. It's no longer a catch and release game. It's no longer a free, open border. It is now a border that's being managed, being secured, and those are being held accountable that violate that.
And you don't want, if you're a migrant trying to get in the U.S., you don't want to pay a coyote several $1,000s to come in if you're going to be sent right back. So it's just frankly as simple as common sense for the migrants trying to get in. They don't want to waste their money if they're sent right back.
Well, it's nice to see America have a business plan. Just similar to the cartels. Cartels have a business plan to exploit us. Now we have a business plan to stop it.
That's a great point. All right. Next one, Sheriff. There are plans for a reported large-scale immigration raid in Los Angeles that were leaked to the media somehow. This coming, of course, after the ICE raids in Colorado were leaked. Those were focused on Tren de Aragua. Who's doing this, and how do we stop it?
Well, you got to figure, David, somebody within the circle of knowledge. And one of the biggest concerns law enforcement has at local, state, and federal is when we have that individual that's in the circle of trust and they violate it for all the wrong reasons. That's when officers, law enforcement get hurt because somebody doesn't believe in the mission. And bottom line is that's a criminal offense. I hope they find out who does this, and I hope they're prosecuted.
Well, and in some cases, it's being broadcast over the radio. These are stations that were a part of something that George Soros had started out, and they're getting it not only on the street from the demonstrators on the street against the ICE raids, but the Tren de Aragua and whomever are listening to these things over the radio.
Well, and you really got a question. I saw some media reports out of L.A., some hard copy media, where they're exposing this and saying, hey, this is what's going on. Shame on them, David, in the fact that are you promoting this reckless behavior, whether it's FBI, HSI, sheriff's offices? We're out there to protect the citizens in our communities. And then you got our national media, local media that's coming out saying, hey, guess what? That just shows you where we're at in this country. We have to unite on that, and the fact that people that cause the greatest risk to our communities, they should not be protected by media or anybody else. I get due process, but let's be real. Let's not trip the situation.
And now there is this coordinated game plan, and part of it includes sending some of the worst, the real hardened, violent criminals to Guantanamo Bay, to the facilities there. Kristi Noem, we showed a soundbite from her earlier. This one is on the legality of doing that. Roll tape.
And obviously there'll be people that will be critics of that. But we are standing up the operations, believing we have all legal right and authority to do so. And that facility has been used for migrants in the past. The direction that they're flowing and the agreements that we have with their home countries will continue to keep that population changing.
Now, I believe that Gitmo was used by Democrat presidents in the past to do that, so the Democrats didn't have any problems with it then. Do you think that this move is going to be challenged by Democrats now?
Well, I think it already is, David, and the fact that it amazes me that the biggest problem we have in this country is politics is in the middle of public safety. It needs to remove itself. Due process, and I respect it. I respect the court of law. But what the Homeland Security Secretary Noem is saying, President Trump said, and Czar Holman, who has met with America's sheriffs, has stated, it'll all be under the rule of law and due process. We all respect that. But when politics gets in there because it's hypocritical, yeah, you can use it for one under their ideologies, but when President Trump used it, now it's a conflict, now it's illegal. That's the problem with it. Politics needs to step aside, let the law do what it needs to do. They're well trained and they know what they're doing.
Is support for sanctuary cities nationwide, as you see it, on the wane? That is, the people that are still sticking by sanctuary cities, are they facing more opposition now than ever?
Oh, I think so. We need to understand one thing, whether democracy, President Trump ran with the prioritization he's going to secure the border and remove those that came here illegally or shouldn't be here. We got to respect the will of the people. And the bottom line, these mayors and governors that would not work with President Trump, you really got to ask the question, David, who are they protecting? Is it the violent criminals or is it our citizens that elected him to protect them?
It's a very, very good question to ask them all. Sheriff Mark Dannels, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here.